Your moon sign is quite possibly the most important part of your chart. So watch this video where I'm not telling you what it means to have a moon in a certain sign, but what it means to have your moon in a certain house, because you need to know both. Your moon is your emotions, and knowing what house it's in shows you where your emotions are going to show up most in life and where you find the most emotional fulfillment. And as human beings, we are naturally driven by emotions no matter what we do, no matter how logical of a person we think we are. So watch this video to discover what it means to have your moon in your third house of communication. Hello and welcome to the Be the Hero Academy channel. My name is Isabelle and I help you understand who you are using personality typing and astrology. I was the kind of person forever that didn't understand who I was. Self-awareness did not come naturally to me. Knowing my desires definitely did not come naturally to me. And understanding my behaviors was a foreign concept. So when I started looking into personality types like Enneagram, Myers-Briggs, and astrology, I finally understood myself and I understood my direction. And not only did I understand myself, but I started improving myself at a rapid rate. So today I'm talking about what it means to have a moon in a specific house known as your third house, so that you can understand what you need for emotional fulfillment and where you're going to seek that emotional fulfillment and how to break free of your emotional patterns so that you can live a life of fulfillment to the fullest. Before I dive into what it means to have your moon in your third house, you should go to the link in the description below to download my free birth chart workbook. It'll take you less than 5 minutes to download it. All you got to do is input your email and I'll send it straight to your inbox. The birth chart workbook breaks down the basics of your chart through journal prompts so that you can apply the information of your chart instead of just taking in the information and holding it and thinking, what do I do with this? So grab the free birth chart workbook in the link in the description below. And now let's dive into what it means to have your moon in your third house. If you don't know what it means to even what a moon sign is, your moon is the planet of emotions. When you get into astrology, you probably hear of it pretty fast because, people ask for your big three. And that includes your sun sign, your moon sign, and your rising sign. So the difference between these three is that the sun is your ego self. Your rising is how you appear to other people, but the moon is so much more because your moon is your emotions. It's the part of you that people probably don't see that fast unless you have a moon in your first house, because it is our emotions. We tend to hide our emotions since it's a vulnerable part of ourselves. So the sign, the archetype, the zodiac sign, whether it's Aries, Taurus, Gemini, the sign it's in shows you what kind of emotions you tend to have, what you need for emotional fulfillment, and what your emotional patterns are. But the house that moon sign is in is going to show you where this shows up most in your life. There are 12 houses in astrology, and they represent the 12 areas of our life. So knowing the house that your moon is in shows you where you're going to seek emotional fulfillment and what you need for emotional fulfillment. The third house reflects Gemini themes because each house represents and reflects one of the zodiac signs. First house is Aries, second house Taurus. So Gemini themes can somewhat show up in the third house, just in a more tangible sense rather than an energetic feeling. So the third house represents our everyday things. So everyday communication is a huge theme. It's how we talk to people in every day. When we're walking down the street and we go, "Hey, Paul, how are you doing? How are the kids? How did the soccer game go?" Or when you're going to the nail salon and you're talking to the nail stylist. These are the themes that show up with the third house. So not only is the third house our communication every day, but it's also everyday people in our everyday environment. It's not just how we talk to the nail stylist or we talk to our neighbor. It's those people themselves. It's our social life, so to say, our social circle that we interact with every day, the places we go every day. It has a lot to do with the information as well. Third house themes mainly have to do with how we interact, the data we receive through interacting in our everyday environment on a basic level. So with your moon, the planet of emotion, in the third house of communication, you're a very curious person. You take in a lot of information. You are very curious to learn about other people. You're very observant, and you can be somewhat good at observing other people's behaviors and somewhat even imitating them, so to say. When it comes to your emotions, you can be a very ever-changing person because you are taking in so much information about your environment that you can't help but morph to all the data coming in around you. You might even feel like it's hard for you to block out that information and let it change how you feel. Because the third house has to do with how we take in information, you probably intellectualize and turn your emotions into data often. Instead of feeling your feelings, you tend to think about your feelings, so to say, and you would much rather avoid your feelings and focus on your external environment. This is because the third house has to do with our everyday environment out there. And so with a moon sign in the third house, we tend to seek emotional fulfillment by interacting with our daily environment. You probably get a lot of fulfillment by talking to your neighbors, by hearing about the latest gossip, by observing your environment. You might find a lot of fulfillment by sitting in a coffee shop and watching the world move around you. And that's because your moon sign is in your third house. Depending on the sign that your moon is in, you might be someone who expresses their emotions quite a bit to their everyday community. When you're maybe at line at the grocery store and the cashier is checking you out, you might start just telling them your whole story of what you're going through, your breakup, or how your mom is struggling, and they're thinking, why are you telling me all this? That might just be because your moon is in your third house and you think it's very normal to express your emotions to your everyday community. Like I said, this change is dependent on what sign your moon in your third house is in. So if you have a moon in Virgo in your third house, you're going to be very intellectual with your emotions. You're going to be very selfless with your emotions. You're going to look for the task to do, and you're going to ask constantly how you can help other people. If you have a moon in Cancer in your third house, you're going to be very emotional with your everyday environment and express your emotions very sensitively to other people. You are a nurturer. So I'd recommend checking out my series on the moon in the signs after you watch this video and see how this applies. Because you have a moon in third house and you love to take in information, you might change your opinions very often. If someone tells you their opinion on something, you might just automatically agree with them and shift your perception. And it's not that you're trying to be a copycat, while some may think that's what you're doing. It's just that you're so easily swayed because your emotions are very susceptible to what other people think, and you're just trying it on for size. You might think, how does this fit? Do I like this? And you might agree with it for the time being until someone else presents a new opinion and you go with that instead. So while people may think that you're just overly agreeable, overly friendly, overly expressive, this is just your nature as a moon in third house. And something for you to keep in mind is to notice how your everyday environment shifts how you feel. If you find yourself constantly feeling negative, pay attention to the environment around you and the information you take in. If you're taking in negative information all the time, of course you're going to feel negative because your moon's in your third house and you're so susceptible to your everyday environment. So you might need to surround yourself with more positive streams and set boundaries with what information you take in. You might not need to start that conversation with someone who you know is struggling or is telling you constantly all the negative things that are happening in their life. You might need to focus on more positive things. On the other hand, notice how much fulfillment you get from being around your everyday environment. Notice how it fills you with joy when you surround yourself with the right people. Notice how going out and buying groceries, going out for just the day, notice how being around human beings, living, breathing human beings, even if you don't talk to them, notice how that brings you fulfillment and play with that well. If you enjoyed this video and it helped you understand what it means to have a moon in your third house, leave a comment below and let me know what sign your moon in third house is in, and I can give you a little sprinkle of what that means specifically for you. While you're down there leaving that comment below, be sure to grab the free birth chart workbook where I walk you through the basics of your chart and teach you how to apply them. The moon sign is included in this workbook. Not only what sign it's in, but it helps you understand what house it's in as well. So grab the free birth chart workbook in the link in the description below. And if you want to learn more about what it means specifically in your case to have a moon in a specific sign and house combination, if you have any questions about astrology, if you don't quite understand something, book a reading with me in the link in the description below. I offer 30-minute readings for $30. We can talk about anything you want. While you're down there in the link in the description below, you can also grab the Making Mindfulness Fun bundle, where we have workbooks on and courses on astrology, Enneagram, Myers-Briggs, you name it, all for $30. So you get 30 workbooks, 30 courses for $30 on everything, every product that we have. So grab the Making Mindfulness Fun bundle in the link in the description below. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel and stay tuned for more videos on the moon through the houses. Namaste.